At 5:30, we got the last playoffs game of the day. We got the number 3 seed Bills 11-6, traveling to number 2 seed Chiefs, sitting at 12-5. Chiefs favored by 1 point on CBS. Both these teams don't have that many injuries. This is going to take about 5 seconds to go over them. Bills have 4. Defensive tackle Justin Zimmer has an ACL. He's out for the year. Defensive end Brian Cox has an Achilles. He's out for the year. Cornerback Tre'Davious White has an ACL, out for the year. And offensive guard Ike Boettger has an Achilles, out for the year. Chiefs have a little bit more. They have about 8. They have about 8 injuries. Yeah, I would say that. You got running back Darrell Williams has a toe limited practice, questionable for the game. Obviously, one of the most important injuries, right? Because if you don't have Darrell Williams, who's your number 2 back? Because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is coming off an injury. I don't know if you should be 100%, that he's 100%. I don't know if he is. He might be. He might be the same Edwards-Helaire we saw running over everyone. But he might also not be. And I guess you could rely on Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon's a back who's done this in the league for multiple years. But I'd love to have Darrell Williams back if I'm a Chiefs fan and have a three-headed monster, especially the way Jerick McKinnon played against Pittsburgh. I would not be surprised if they use all 3 if they're all healthy. Tight end Jody Fortson obviously went down early in the year. Achilles, IR. Obviously, they would have loved to kept him because he was such a great threat early, but unfortunately didn't have him. Defensive tackle Kalen Saunders, undisclosed. He might come back this week, though, and the Chiefs would love some depth at defensive tackle. Defensive end Malik Herring had an ACL injury. He's out for this game. Quarterback Rashad Fenton, and if Darrell Williams is not the most important injury, it's going to be Rashad Fenton. Because Rashad Fenton, now let's be clear here, he's not a starting corner. That's 100% Travarius Ward and L'Jarius Sneed. I don't even think he's the number 3 corner, because I think that's Mike Hughes. But Rashad Fenton is a player that sees the field a lot. He is a very important special teams contributor, and I feel like it would really hurt not to have Rashad Fenton in this game. Now, obviously, you would love that, like, if that's your team, you would love that one of your biggest injuries is a player that barely sees the field on defense and is mainly a special teams contributor. But if I'm a Chiefs, I would love to have Rashad Fenton back, because you look at the Bills, they have really maybe 3 injuries, I think, that really cost them, but they have not had that many injuries to their depth players. Obviously, Tre'Davious White's the injury that hurts the most, but Zimmer is a nice piece off the bench, and Ike Boettger was a solid offensive guard when he was playing. But Rashad Fenton, you would love to have him back. He has back injury, did not practice. He's questionable for the game. You would love to have him, though. Chris Lemons has an ankle, IR. He's supposed to come back this week. We'll see if that holds up. And then right tackle. This is one of the most important positions to me. You lost Lucas Niang partway through the year. Kneecap injury. He's out for the season. You're right now starting third-string tackle, I believe, Andrew Wiley, right? And Andrew Wiley held up about as much as you could hope for against T.J. Watt. Bills defensive end's not as good as T.J. Watt, right? But they do have some solid ones. They have some good pass rushers, and you'd love to get right tackle Mike Remmers back. Because there was a debate earlier in the year, before Mike Remmers got hurt, between Niang and Remmers, right? So, obviously, Remmers is close to Niang's skill level. You would love to have him back. You'd love to have an offensive tackle that's experienced, that can play the game. Obviously, he's Wiley. But I don't know if that's going to be enough. I would love to have Mike Remmers back for this game. If I'm a Chiefs fan, he's supposed to come back from IR with his knee injury this week. We'll see if that holds up. But so who do I think is going to win? I think this is a really tough game, because if you're looking at it, obviously you have the 2 of the best offenses in the league. You have Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Devin Singletary's playing at a high level. You got Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, Gabriel Davis. Obviously some really good playmakers on that team. But then you also look at the Chiefs' offense. You got Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Obviously some elite offenses going back and forth. But then I'm sorry for the Bills, by the way. Dawson Knox was really great last week. He's been great all season. A lot of people forget about tight ends if their name's not Travis Kelce or George Kittle or Rob Gronkowski. A lot of people forget about them. As much as I was talking hype about C.J. Uzomah for Cincinnati and how he's an underrated part of that offense, Dawson Knox is an underrated part of the Bills' offense. He really does a great job of what he does. He's a big body tight end. He's quick. He does everything you ask him to. Gotta give some love to Dawson Knox. But you look at the Chiefs' defense. Defense is playing at a pretty elite level as well. The defensive line is stacked. Chris Jones, Melvin Ingram, Frank Clark. I mean, all these guys have been playing great all season. Then you look at the linebacker core. Nick Bolton's running around like a man with his hair on fire. Willie Gay's been playing solid all around. I mean, you got to love what they're doing in the linebacker core. And then the secondary. Secondary is my favorite part of the Chiefs defense. If you want to watch the Chiefs defense, watch the secondary play. Because you're talking about the Honey Badger Tyrann Mathieu. You're talking about L'Jarius Sneed. You're talking about Charvarius Ward. You're talking about Juan Thornhill, Daniel Sorensen. I mean, these guys play at an elite level. I'm sure many people only know Tyrann Mathieu, but watch Charvarius Ward play sometime. He is a legitimate #1 corner in the NFL. He's a lockdown corner. L'Jarius Sneed plays an extremely high level as well. Juan Thornhill is a forgotten safety on that unit. Obviously, Daniel Sorensen is a player that does all the little things right, and he's just so good at making plays in the playoffs. It's when he comes out to shine. You got to watch the Chiefs secondary. And then you look at the Bills. I mean, I don't know how you could not love the Bills defense. Defensive line gets after him every week. The linebacker core might be the best left in the NFL in the playoffs. You're talking about Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds and A.J. Klein, who's a legitimate underrated piece on this team. And then, obviously, safeties Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde are some of the best in the NFL, period. I mean, this game is easily one of the best because you're not only talking about 2 elite offenses, but also 2 elite defenses. Whoever wins this game, in my opinion, wins the Super Bowl. I'm going to go with a little bit of a shocker. I know I've been picking the road game teams all the time. I'm a little bit in love with the Chiefs this year. I'm sorry, Buffalo. I got to rock with Kansas City here. I think the Chiefs are going to win this one. But here, this is GGB saying adios, amigos.